The Light for Dummies.
Act 1. Aristotle ran into a paradox. The light propagates in a straight line. The ether of the sky should carry the light. This middle of the sky is characterized by a circular motion. It drags the stars around the earth, the center of the world. Aristotle therefore assumed that light is a property common to his five diaphanous media: ether, fire, air, water and earth. Knowledge of the motion of stars is essential for establishing the navigation tables. But nobody was really interested in light before Descartes. Descartes' first hypothesis is that light is carried by a medium that fills space. Galileo had eliminated the Aristotle's paradoxical ether. The medium of space therefore received the name of ether. With the pathological will to assert the opposite of Descartes in all fields, Newton attributed light to corpuscles. But he kept a fluid filling the space. The density of this fluid would be variable in an attempt to explain the refraction and the famous rings that bear his name. Newton also used this fluid to explain gravity by Archimedes' thrust, which is absurd because Archimedes' thrust results from gravity. Archimedes' push cannot in no way be the cause of gravity. Huygens discovered in 1677 the double refraction of Iceland's path and polarization, which can only be explained by an wave approach to light, which is impossible with a corpuscular theory. The ephemeral particles of Newton were therefore quickly abandoned. After Young's discovery of light interference in 1801, there was no longer any doubt. Space is filled with a fluid carrying waves, ether. It was only the staging of a pathetic drama. The discovery of electromagnetic phenomena was going to lead pure science into a diabolical chain of paradoxes more monstrous than the other. This drama results from several truly tragic coincidences. Act 2. As a perfect positivist, Maxwell tried to bring together the discoveries made since Ørsted in a coherent set of mathematical equations. One of these equations, that which has been called the Maxwell-Hertz equation, has a sinusoidal solution, a vibration therefore. By a clever dimensional convention, but completely arbitrary, Maxwell affirmed that the variations of the electromagnetic fields are propagated at the speed of light. Maxwell thus postulated that light is an electromagnetic wave which propagates in a motionless medium filling space, the ether. In addition, we realized that polarization is a transverse phenomenon. This ether is therefore a solid because only solids transmit transverse waves. Maxwell, a mathematician and a positivist by nature, had just set up an infernal machine. In 1887, Hertz discovered the waves emitted by an electrical circuit. The oscillations of electrons in a conductor cause electromagnetic phenomena which act on the electrons in other distant conductors. He measured their speed of propagation. These waves propagate at the speed of light. He thus confirmed Maxwell's theory. The problem therefore seemed solved and the play seemed to be over. In 1900, Professor William Thomson, Lord Kelvin, thought that physics was practically complete. There is nothing left to discover in physics today, all that remains is to improve the accuracy of the measurements. An unexpected twist occurred. People rushed back into the room that was already emptying. Act 3. Since the postulated electromagnetic solid ether is motionless in space, the Earth is therefore moving in the ether. At that time, it was not known that the solar system is moving at 630 km per second around the center of the galaxy. Scientists were only looking for 30 km per second around the Sun. The Michelson's very famous experiment did not highlight such a speed. The mathematics of our positivists would quickly overcome this ordeal. Lorenz's formulas change time and space, so there is nothing to see. The 9 or 10 km per second detected a little later by Miller were attributed to the temperature without any proof. Professor Ley demonstrated by rigorous statistical analysis that this residual speed, so to speak, is correlated to the respective positions of the Earth, the Sun and the Moon. The temperature has nothing to do with it. This old troublemaker arrived too late. Nothing could have stopped the fatal course of the tragedy. Another mathematician, notoriously positivist, was going to open Act 4. Poincaré showed that the Maxwell-Hertz equation is not invariant in a change of Galilean reference frame. Just a little bit of math and everything will come back in order. A young engineer shows that Lorentz formulas make the Maxwell-Hertz equation invariant. Einstein, by this incredible coincidence with the solution of Michelson's experiment, put an end to Act 3. Act 4. At the same time, Max Planck discovered the law of black-body radiation. Matter emits quantified waves. Newton's spectrum comes into play. How could an elastic solid transmit such waves? Light is therefore made up of particles, photons with two faces like Janus, both wave and particle. Like an infernal thriller, the drama rebounds. General relativity, the inevitable consequence of special relativity, would explain gravitation by a curvature of a space with four dimensions, space and time. The continuous vision of mathematicians comes head-on to the quantification of electromagnetic phenomena such as light. Mathematical equations are opposed to any individuation. String theory has failed to reconcile approaches. The suspense is at its height. But another tragedy emerges in the midst of the tragedy. Act 5. Interference occurs with successive single photons. So the photon is not localized. It has a probability of presence and only manifests on the screen where it should arrive. We are breathing. The relieved spectators applaud. But here is a new twist. We observe interference with huge organic molecules. So they must have an associated wave. At what level does the wave-particle duality end? At what level does the quantum decoherence that was supposed to explain the transition between quantum physical rules and classical physical rules stop? Do we also have an associated wave? Anxiety seizes the room. And it redoubles in the face of a new earthquake. Polarized photons emitted in two symmetrical directions appear to be correlated when they return to an appropriate sensor. How are they informed of their respective state? By quantum entanglement. A mysterious word, an incantation worthy of Aristotle closes the debate. Curtain.